Welcome, Pei Lin, to the show. I'm really excited to have you on our show today, and I'm sure listeners are in for a treat.
Thank you, Ritu.
So all that I'm going to say is Pei Lin is a pioneer in introducing litigation PR to Singapore. Pei Lin, tell us a little bit about what's your forte, what is it that you do?
I think it's a really big word, litigation PR. It usually throws people off a little bit. My career is in public relations. And a lot of what I do is in strategic communications work, doing some amount of branding, media licensing work, and securing publicity opportunities for my clients. It's an industry that's about 100 years old, so it's a very young industry in the world. And although I've been in this industry for 20 years, my parents, who are both educated, continue to ask me, so what exactly do you do for a living? But essentially, what I do in litigation PR is to help people or companies or organizations who are in the midst of litigation deal with their reputation. So, in other words, whilst their lawyers and their legal team work with them in the court of law, my fight for them is in the court of public opinion.
Wow.
And to try to see if we could persuade people to listen to their story in the middle of a court case, whether it's a criminal prosecution matter or a civil suit between two organizations. So I would say litigation PR work takes up about the 20 to 30% of my work today. And the only reason why I'm doing it is because I started my working life as a lawyer, as a litigation lawyer. So that sort of provides the background as to why when I moved industries from the practice of law to PR.
Pei Lin, I picked up this interesting thing as you were saying. You made a transition from being a lawyer to PR, two different industries, two different kind of works. What made you do that?
My mother. So when I was in school, my mother decided when I was very young that, oh, you can count very well, you shall be an accountant. You will be an accountant since math is your strong subject. And when I was choosing a university course, I decided I would do anything except being an accountant. Why law? Because my mother said, there's no way you could get into law. Oh, okay, you think so? All the more, I'll just do it. Studying law, although it started out as something that I did just to make sure I didn't become an accountant, I ended up falling in love with it, loving legal practice. And the first year of my legal practice, I didn't go home until about 1 a.m., 2 a.m. every single day. I worked 7 days a week. So because we had to put billable hours, I billed 364 days that first year, which means I only stopped working for 1 day. And then my mother said, I didn't send you to school, so I'll never see you again. I mean, in Singapore, in a typical Asian family, we don't leave the home until we are married. She felt that I needed a life, and that working is not a life. I loved my work. And then my mom said, we're going on a holiday end of the year as a family. Your younger brother and sisters are graduating. She's a dramatic Asian mother, right? So she said, it's last time we're going to have a holiday as a family. And if you're not going to be there, you move out of my house. And I said, oh, wow. And I started counting. Oh, I earned $3,000. If I pay rental somewhere, I'm not going to have any cash left. It's not worth it. Yeah, maybe I should move out. I should go for the holiday. And so I told my boss probably in August that, oh, I'm resigning. I'm giving you 4 months notice. I need to go on a family holiday. And I couldn't take leave because I had 2 major trials in January, which my boss would require me to be around to prepare for the trials. And I knew that it was just wrong to apply for leave. And so I left legal practice. And that was when I decided to try and do PR with a very good friend that grew up with me. We sat around in cafes, having coffee and thinking, what are we going to do with the rest of our lives? And my friend said, let's be an entrepreneur. And I said, yeah, that sounds cool. We thought about opening a cafe, a sushi bar actually. We were really fixated on wanting to open a sushi bar. And then we checked out the cost. It's like 100 over 1,000, rental, renovations, getting licenses. And I went home and I said, Mom, do you have 100,000 for me? I wanted to start a business. This was 20 years ago. Mom said, no way, not a single cent for you. You could do whatever you want without money from me. And I said, okay. And that's how we ended up with PR. My friend said, hey, PR is like, you don't need money to start. I'm like, oh, really? Okay, let's do it then, whatever it means. We were just two young ladies thinking we could conquer the world when we had nothing. And yeah, what a journey it has been.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine. But in that youth and being so naive in a way led you to do that. Because if you'd overthought it, I don't think so you would have this agency today, right?
If I had the knowledge and the hindsight today, I wouldn't have done that. Really, I wouldn't have done that. And it's just insanity.
And so now you've been doing this for 20 years, you said, right?
That's right.
I'm sure there were many moments which redefined you and the work. But if you were to look back, were there few incidents, few milestones that, twists and turn in those 20 years? Tell us few of them.
PR as a skill set, I think it was not so difficult learning it when we really put our minds to it, wanting to do it. My business partner, she had a degree in PR and she had work experience in PR. As for me, I just bought a lot of textbooks, borrowed them from the libraries and just learned what it was about. And I realized it wasn't that difficult or that different from legal practice. Like I said, it's really about convincing people. In legal practice, it was about convincing the judge. There are no jury system in Singapore, so it was only one guy, the judge. And in PR, it's really about convincing the target audience or the public of their opinion. So to that extent, I think it's advocacy in a different way. But in terms of the challenges, like you mentioned, right, along the way, one key part of it was that we were very young bosses, and in the initial stage, being very young, we thought that, hey, we're paying you salary, you should do anything we want you to do, and if you don't do it well, we're gonna scream and shout at you until it's done, right? And then about a year in, we met a client who really kept talking about investing into people that worked with him. And after several conversations where we heard him tell the story to the media when we arranged media interviews, and we got intrigued ourselves, and we really sat him down and said, teach us and tell us, how do you train people with such an open heart and not worry that they will leave and resign and take all your secrets and all your whatever you've taught them away.
Right.
And that was the first guy that told us, whilst this person is working for you and earning salary from you for 1 month, this person is your team member, and if you don't train him enough and allow him to contribute to his maximum capacity, he may not be the best player in your team, and therefore you're doing yourself a disservice. And actually, so in running the business over the years, HR, managing people, learning how to be a servant leader, to some extent, it's one of the biggest thing I've learned and challenges, and I think it continues to be a challenge as we deal with a changing demographic of workforce that joins us.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. I'm tempted to ask this, because you said you were these two young ladies started this agency. Did you have any challenges initially to get clients or people taking you seriously?
The first 3 years, I remember I didn't wear anything but full suits to meetings, because we had people. I had a client ask me, Me and my business partner Julie, we were across the table from him. We presented our idea to launch a MP3 player. Okay, back then MP3 players were the later. We pitched for the project. We had great ideas, and this the client sat across us and said, "I have a few questions for you," and we were gonna answer questions related to the project. And he said, "How old are you?" And we were like, I remember we were 25, 26, and we went, we're almost 30. And then he said, how old is your company? And we said about almost 2 years, when we were actually barely at first year. And then he said, how big is your company? How many people are there? And there were two of us, but we said, yeah, a few more. And then he says, okay, I loved the ideas. I loved your energy. I think we quoted him maybe $12,000 to do it 20 years ago, and he said, "I'll pay you $2,000. It's an honor to do my brand launch, and once you have that in your credentials, it's to your advantage. You should be paying me to do my work, so I'll pay you $2,000 to cover your expenses, and you do it." So I think we were looking back. I think we were definitely bullied to some extent, right? And so I think from a business point of view, people may say that's what business is all about: finding the opportunity and the best is a willing buyer, willing seller kind of an idea.
Yeah.
We did take the job, by the way, but yeah, we felt like we needed to be older all the time until we hit our 40s, and then we wanted to be younger.
I remember even when I was like 42, 43, and if I walked into, with really senior leadership teams and they would ask, I would always say, yeah, when you're in your late 40s, or like I would always exaggerate my age, whereas all my friends were like, are you serious? And actually that's really cool because women no more have to hide the age. I mean, we can wear it on our sleeve, exaggerate if we need to. So it's perfect. In these 20 years, as you look back, were there few challenges? Were there some obstacles that you faced, and what were they? But also, more importantly, how did you overcome them?
I think one of the biggest challenges was, like I said, managing people, and I think it continues to be a challenge. Learning how to be a good manager, and then a good mentor, right? And being able to see past the fact that people may not be working with you forever, but it is worth investing in them when they are with you. And of course now with as we at least in recent years, we are dealing with a younger workforce coming into the company, fresh out of COVID. They spend their entire university in a lockdown, for example. They are less likely to want to work from a physical office permanently. They are more likely to look for purpose, they say. And then it's the challenge of looking inwards, right, and saying, look, as a company, do we have a corporate purpose, and what is that corporate purpose? I think these are the type of challenges that we continue to deal with on a regular basis. And then there is also the part, as I said, about creating visibility. There is a lot of humility being taught in our Asian culture. If you're doing a good job, you wait for someone else to tell you you're doing a good job. You don't go out and say, I'm a great, successful person in litigation PR, for example. I mean, I feel embarrassed when you say that. I still do, right? And that is why we exist, actually, funnily, because clients engage us to do that for them. And so what we have done, like you said, how do you overcome this challenge? One of the things we did internally, now that we are big enough, was to have a group of people look at each other's PR and visibility and marketing. So instead of us trying to go to people and say, I'm really good, have me on your show, Ritu, I think, oh, you're writing a book, you should interview me. So you see, what happened instead was that a colleague of mine went to you and said, hey, you're writing a book, you should interview my colleague. And then we're sort of doing that for each other and being each other's cheerleader.
Yes, no, I think that's such a good point because creating visibility, as you rightly said, I mean, I run women leadership programs, and one of the things we talk a lot about is how do you create visibility? And one of the things we talk about is this, that how do you have a network who can then speak to you? So don't necessarily speak for yourself, but create a network that can then speak for you. And I'm happy that you mentioned that you know, how you all are supporting each other and kind of, you know, talking about the other person so that that's still done. The visibility is created, but through other person, and which also actually makes it even more credible when you do it through somebody else, right? You've had such a great run. What were some pockets, some people who really supported you in this journey? When you look back, you say, oh, without them, probably, you know, I wouldn't have got here. Like, what does that support look like as you look back? And even now, maybe it continues.
Well, I started off talking about my mother. I have to start off again saying that my mother, my father, my parents, they have been supportive in their own way. They are Asian parents, so of course they have along the way stopped me and said, so what exactly are you doing? Do you have enough money? So I think whilst they had that kind of traditional conversations with me regularly. On the other hand, they have always been very proud of what I do, and in their own way very supportive of allowing me to do all these. And I would say that is very important in that journey that I took. Of course, the other area of it is that I had a lot of support from friends and people in the industry and people that were like my chosen family, I say. Right? So that's my family, and that's people that I chose to be my family, my business partners, for example, and many clients they've supported us over the years. Of course, now I better say my husband too. I love to be very much involved in a lot of community projects, community committees and organizations, charities. And I continue to be very active in that circle. Even though I love to practice, I was prepared to give it up because two things. One, I didn't have enough time for my family at all. And number two, I didn't have time at all to be part of any organizations outside of work. And I didn't like that. Yeah. Today I sit in about 8 different charity boards and committees. And I really love the work that I do there. So I think I am grateful I met a man who accepted that and said, okay, you're going to be very busy at work, but you're also going to be involved in all these committees and charities and stuff that don't make money, but that's okay if you like it. So I'm grateful for all that support.
Nice. I mean, so many things you said make so much sense. You know, like you said, starts with our parents supporting us, but also having a bunch of people around us. And that's, again, one of the things I tell, women leaders is that don't just get sucked 100% in your work. Try and get a community even outside work, whether it's your friend, it could be your colleagues, but develop that network. Because I think, it's important for men too, but men inherently probably are better at networking. Women have to just make that little bit more effort. But once they do that, those are the people who become their biggest cheerleaders. So I'm glad you mentioned all of this, and especially the point about doing things even outside work, which kind of leads me to a little bit more serious conversation or question. How do you define success?
I think success in different areas of our life it looks different. Success at work primarily has to be having a good profit or revenue. Revenue, then profit, right? I think that's still very critical about running a business. But that cannot be the only definition or outcome of what a success looks like for running a business. Having people who say they are part of that business, they are team players, they see it as their career, I think that is important. Being able to the outcomes that our clients want, that is definitely success.
Yeah.
Clients coming back to us, and I have clients who are about 20 years old with us, so that is success, right? They may not be our highest billing client today, but we are proud that we've made them happy and we've fulfilled whatever they want to pay us for, and so well that they come back to us year after year. That is success. So I think on the business front, that's what success looks like. I think for in my personal life, success is about having and being able to continue to create shared memories with my family. Being there and being present is very important. Whether they are for the younger generation, the aging parents and grandparents type, it's about being there. It's really about being there, having a lot of shared memories, laughter, and meals together. I mean, for my family at least, eating is a big thing, right? So just being able to eat together is so important. Yeah.
Oh, nice. If you look back, what would you tell your younger self? Like, what actionable or very tactical advice would you have for your younger self?
Wow. Okay. Don't be in such a hurry to grow old. There's nothing good in growing old yet. I would say, go ahead, enjoy yourself. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, great. Is there any other thought or insights you have that you think could benefit, me or the listeners or anybody else? Yeah.
I give talks regularly to young people. I mean, the schools invite me, and I do that with all the young people who joined our company. I always do a talk with them within the first month of them joining, and I'll try the exercise on you.
Sure.
For college, how many subjects did you take?
Yeah,
six, right? Okay. Tell me your favorite subject. Quick one. Just one. Name it.
Economics at that time.
What did you score for economics?
Oh God, I think in college I got a 72 or something, yeah.
Is that an A?
I don't know. I think that's an A.
So essentially, I've tried this exercise on a lot of people, and nobody ever gave me a favorite subject that they failed in.
Yeah.
Or even scored a B or a C. Most of the time, 80% of the time, they scored an A. Otherwise, sometimes they scored a B. Yeah. But nobody ever gave me a favorite subject where they scored a C in. And so when young people ask me this, wow, Pei Lin, how do you know you're supposed to do law and not PR? And I tell them, I didn't know I'm supposed to do law and not PR. I mean, you heard my story. It was like accidentally I got into doing PR, but it doesn't mean I didn't enjoy law. It also didn't mean that I didn't do well in law. And I think if I tomorrow become a Grab driver, I would be an excellent Grab driver. I mean, I love driving, and I'm a conversational person, so I will talk to people. I'll get Grab Driver of the Year award within 2 years, I'm sure. So at the end of the day, when young people say, how do I know what I'm supposed to do in life? My answer to them is very simple. Go look for something that you do well in, not something you enjoy, because just because you enjoy it, and what do I enjoy? They say, what's your passion? I said, my passion is sleeping, eating, watching TV. You think I get out of bed every morning wanting to come to work? No way. I would rather watch Netflix all day long. So passion has to be something that is more of an attitude than the thing that you want to do. And if you are able to see it from that angle, then bring passion to everything you do. Bring passion to your work, bring passion to your family. When you're planning a family outing, a holiday, a friend's birthday, bring passion in. Passion is something you can put in your pocket and bring along with you everywhere you go. Be passionate. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, how I love that. That is gold. Thank you so much, Pei Lin. I mean, like I said, I took away so much. If I were to summarize the top 3 learnings I had in this, one, I started with the thing that when you said about how focusing on people is so important. And actually, this is very relevant for even first-time managers that, the minute you become a manager, now you have responsibility for people. So make sure right at the start of your career, if you're managing people, you're taking care of them, you're investing in them, and you're working with them. The other part was creating visibility. How, we all are reluctant to create visibility for ourselves, but if we have a strong network, a strong ecosystem, those people can actually help create visibility for us. And that's a fantastic way to do that, and something, again, very doable. The third piece, of course, I have to say is this whole don't just do something you enjoy, but do something that you're good at. I mean, that was brilliant for me. So thank you so much. Lynn, I really enjoyed our conversation, and I'm sure our listeners are going to do too. And thank you so much for your time. Last words. Anything else from you?
Go chase the rainbow.
Great. Go chase the rainbow. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you, Ritu. Thank you.